Sensorimotor OCD is an absolute nightmare. It can really make you feel like there's two different sides to you. One side is the kind of side that you present to the world that often does feel good, and maybe it kind of feels like a kind of past memory. Maybe sensorimotor OCD is kind of taken over so much of your life that you almost kind of forget that kind of part of you, the part of you that was happy, the part of you that didn't struggle with this. But you know, that part of you is still there, even though that kind of ugly sensorimotor OCD part of you likes to show up at sometimes and kind of take over things. I think part of the process when we're learning to overcome sensorimotor OCD is actually this kind of battle, if you like, although it needs to be more like kind of learning a new approach to kind of bring more acceptance and compassion to sensorimotor OCD. At times, though, it does feel like a bit of a battle. And really what's going on is we're trying to put forward our more mindful, more present, more accepting, more compassionate self. But the kind of sensorimotor OCD part of us keeps on popping up again. It keeps on saying, hey, I'm here and I'm still going to annoy you. I'm still going to frustrate you. I'm still going to hold you back. I'm still going to make you remember this thing that you just want to forget. And today's episode is really all about helping you to kind of see those two parts of us and to remember that actually, you know, getting better is all about trying to keep putting that good part of you forward. Even when it feels impossible, even when it feels that every time that you do, the sensorimotor OCD keeps coming back. And I know how frustrating that is. But it's really about trying to keep on moving, even when it's really difficult with it. So off we go. So here I go. I'm going to have a good day today. I'm going to make sure that I do my best. If the sensorimotor OCD shows up, that's okay. I'm going to go back to work because I've been off work for a little while with stress, with anxiety. So I'm going to put my best foot forward today. I'm going to do everything I can to allow the awareness to be there. And I'm going to show up for myself. And if things go a bit sideways from time to time, well, that's okay. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to bring acceptance to it, and I'm going to find a way through. It's there again, the awareness, the sensations. I thought today was going to be a better day. I was really determined. I was going to do everything to make sure that today was going to go well. And actually, now I'm back at work and already I'm aware of it. Already it's annoying me. And really, I don't know what to do. This is so frustrating. I'm trying to be positive, and yet it's here again. I can't stop thinking about my swallowing this morning. And actually, you know, I've got this meeting in a minute, and you know, if I'm kind of stuck there in that meeting with my attention on my swallowing, you know, people are going to notice. People are going to see me being really anxious. This is a nightmare. It's so frustrating. Okay, so I've got to try and change my mindset a bit here. I can see that I'm panicking. I'm getting really angry with myself about being stuck with this again. I'm feeling like it's really unfair. And you know what? It is a bit unfair, but I'm going to have to do my best with it today because I've decided to kind of go back to work, to put my best foot forward. And although the awareness is there, I can still go to this meeting. And actually, you know, if I try my best to just be present, to focus on what people are saying, to maybe look around me and kind of pay attention a bit more to the scenery, to feel myself sat in the chair and to feel a bit more grounded in my surroundings, that might help me to get through that meeting in a slightly better way. And yes, those sensations probably will be there because they often are. But I need to work on allowing those sensations to be there whilst actually kind of focusing on what's important to me, what I value. And really, this meeting is important because I've not been at work for a few weeks and I really do need to catch up on what's been going on. So even if it's there, even if people notice me, you know, seeming to be a bit anxious, it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep going and I'm just going to try to do my best despite it. So I'm in the meeting now and, you know, it's not working. I am really anxious and, I'm fully aware of my breathing, of my blinking. People are looking at me, and I'm sure that they're seeing this. This is ridiculous. This is so frustrating. Why is it like this? Why am I like this? My boss just asked me a question, and I was kind of so stuck in my head with all of this. I kind of stumbled over my words, and in the end, I did manage to kind of get something out, and actually, it was fine. But why do I have to be like this? Why is it like this? This isn't fair, and this is very frustrating. I was trying to kind of feel myself sat in the chair, but I could just be aware of the sensations at the same time. I was trying to pay attention to the conversation and what was going on around me, but I was constantly getting distracted. And, it doesn't seem normal. It doesn't seem right that I would have to bring mindfulness to this situation. Why should I have to pay attention to these things? Why can't I just pay attention without being aware of my body, without being aware of my surroundings? Why can't I just notice these things normally like everybody else? It's just ridiculous and frustrating. And if you're resonating with this, I do now have a 12-week Sensorimotor OCD program that is specifically designed to help you to break free from sensorimotor OCD. It's based on my own personal experiences and very much on acceptance commitment therapy, which was one of the things that really helped me to deal with sensorimotor OCD a lot better. If you're interested in that, you can get a free discovery call with me by heading over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes, and now on with the rest of the episode. It is frustrating, and you're right about that, but to be honest, it's just where I'm at right now. And it's not that those mindfulness tools don't work. They really do. And actually, I think it's good that actually we're in the meeting. We haven't run away from that. The fact that, we went to the meeting and we're doing our best to just be present, to allow those difficult sensations to be there. Yes, maybe the boss did ask you a question, and we had to kind of like stumble our way through that. But actually, that was okay. Nothing bad happened because of it. Maybe, the boss is aware that you've been off sick for a while and therefore, is going to be more likely to kind of forgive that. I think the important thing is that we recognize that, these tools like mindfulness, like trying to kind of redirect your attention when you get distracted by something, trying to allow that awareness to be there rather than trying to kind of get rid of it all of the time. These are tools that, whilst it may be frustrating that we have to apply them, that maybe other people don't have to do them. We do for some reason. And if we can kind of bring some acceptance and compassion to that, it might make it a bit easier for us to apply those tools in a meaningful way that will actually make some difference. I know how difficult sensorimotor OCD can be sometimes. And, for me, this has been such a hard experience. But let's keep going because actually, we're in this meeting. We've shown up today. We're actually living by our values. We are, we're kind of doing the stuff that is important to us. We're not allowing the sensorimotor OCD to stop us from doing those things. And actually, that's more important than if we are aware of something or not. I think so often we get fixated on that as the main problem. As long as I'm aware of this thing, I can't be happy. I can't live my life. I can't be in the present moment. And, when we have that attitude, well, it tends to hold us back. As soon as we're willing to say, look, yeah, I am aware of this thing, but I am going to take action anyway and give ourselves permission to do that, it helps us to feel better automatically. And over time, as you start living your life more in line with your values and really focusing in on the present and what's going on around you, the awareness does, little by little, start to take a bit of a back seat. And sometimes we can even choose to pay attention to it on purpose. Now, I'm actually going to do that right now. Maybe it's a little bit later in the day now. Maybe it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It's been a long day. The meeting's behind us. We've had lunch. And now suddenly the awareness has come back. Well, rather than distracting myself from that, I'm just going to spend a minute, sat here in my chair, and I'm going to just pay attention to it more. I'm going to try to allow that awareness to be there. I'm going to be interested in it. I'm not going to push it away so much. Quite the opposite. I'm going to be curious about it. And I'm just going to sit here and pay attention to it. No one else is here. Even if they were, they probably wouldn't even notice that I'm doing this. And now I'm not resisting the awareness quite so much. I'm learning how to bring more compassion, more awareness to it in a positive way. And that begins to change my relationship to it. And this is the kind of thing that I think we need to do. What are you talking about? You're so positive and annoying. Those things don't work. They're absolute nonsense. You can't allow the awareness to be there. If the awareness is there, it is going to ruin your day. That's the whole point of sensorimotor OCD. That thing can be there with you all the time. And if you pay attention to it, which you will, because you can't help but pay attention to it, it's going to distract you from everything. It's going to make your life miserable. It's going to make every moment less enjoyable. So it doesn't matter how you kind of view it. If you're still aware of it, it's going to be a problem. And that other thing that you were talking about there of trying to focus in on it on purpose for a minute, trying to be curious about it, trying to allow it. Well, that's not going to work. I've tried that. And actually, it just makes me kind of more aware of it. It makes me feel, even more stuck. So I need to find a different approach. All I actually need to do is just get rid of this once and for all. Once I've finally got rid of it, then I can start living my life. Then I can be happy. I know you're trying to be positive, and I appreciate that. But these things are not going to work for me. If they were going to work, it already would have happened. Does this sound familiar to you? I think this is a situation that so many people with sensorimotor OCD find themselves. Of course, we may know what the things are that we need to do. And perhaps you're practicing some of those things. Maybe sometimes you're getting some success with some of those things. But it can be very difficult. It can be very draining at times because you need to kind of keep going with it. You need to keep applying it again and again. And of course, it can feel like that kind of Jekyll and Hyde situation sometimes, where there's the good part of us that recognizes what we need to do and keeps on trying to push us to do those things. But then that frustration, that anger, that annoyance, at times it can take over and we get very caught up in negativity. And we can convince ourselves that nothing's going to work. What's the point of it? It's not going to work for us. Maybe it works for other people. The reality is that this is something that, all of us, I think, get caught up in sometimes. It's difficult, particularly when you're developing new skills, when you're trying to learn about sensorimotor OCD. You're trying to develop all of these new techniques and try to learn to live with it in a different way. It is challenging, and you do come up against that kind of Jekyll and Hyde situation. So if you're finding that yourself, it's nothing unusual. I want you to know that actually, I think that's part of the process. It's part of learning how to deal with it in a kind of meaningful way. And it's, it doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path at all. It means that you're taking action, that actually, you're learning how to bring acceptance to it. You're learning how to bring compassion to it. It isn't straightforward. There are going to be moments when we get caught up in negativity, where we get angry, where we get frustrated. And if we can recognize that and just be compassionate about that and just try to keep moving forward anyway, little by little, you are developing the skills. For me, I was stuck in sensorimotor OCD for such a long time. It was over 12 years where I didn't even know what it was. And I was completely in the dark with it. And I never thought I would not be aware of these things. But, little by little, as I started to practice these techniques, I found out what it was, number one, and started to practice acceptance commitment therapy, started to practice anchoring techniques and mindfulness, started to focus more on my values and my goals. My life really did begin to change. And little by little, I started to realize that I wasn't as aware of these things anymore. Ultimately, sensorimotor OCD is something that you can learn how to kind of deal with. And today, it isn't something that really bothers me very much at all. So I really hope that you found that helpful, a little bit different today's episode. If you have any questions at all, do please let me know. And remember, I do offer a free discovery call. To get that, you can head over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes, and I will see you next time. This video is for education only. It's not therapy or medical advice. If you're struggling, please speak with a licensed mental health professional.